Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Noye. Today I'll be teaching us how to cut a princess that bustier blouse with a peplum. So I'll start by marking a starting point. Okay, so I'll take my half length plus 1 inch, that will be 19. So usually it's supposed to be half inch, but half inch is for joining the shoulder and the remaining half inch is to join the half length to the peplum. Okay, so after that I'll take my tape measure and mark my chest line. That's half of my round armhole measurement, which is 9 plus half inch seam allowance. My bust point is 11 plus half inch seam allowance, and my underbust 15 plus half inch seam allowance. Okay, so I'll mark them all into a horizontal line. Okay, so that's me marking out the lines. Okay, I hope they're visible enough. Okay, that's the bust point, then the underbust. Okay, so these are the lines you need. Okay, so from there we'll measure the shoulder measurement. The shoulder is 16, half of that is 8 inches, so I'll mark 8 inches. Then from there I'll mark an additional 2 inches. Now this is for the princess that we'll understand better as we go into details. So I also mark the same thing on my chest line, okay, just so that I can get a straight line, you know, normal armhole drafting. Okay, but this time I'm having 2 inches again, and that's for the princess that. Okay, so from the shoulder line I'll come down by 5 inches. Now this is for a plus size. For a smaller size you can use 4 inches. For a medium size you can use 4.5. okay, so that's the bust point, the underbust, and the half length. Okay, so on my bust line, on my bust point, I'll mark half of my bust span, which is 4.5. On my underbust I'll subtract half inch from half of my bust span and mark there. So on the bust point, yes, then 4 inches on the underbust and on the half length. So I'll connect the lines. Okay, note that it is not a straight line. Okay, so you connect the bust point to the underbust and then to the half length. Then I'll connect the bust point using a curve ruler to the 5-inch mark we came down from the shoulder line. So use a curve ruler to give you that curve that princess that have. You can still, you know, use your free hand to smoothen out the curves. Okay, so I'm actually cutting on satin. Okay, I'm making it with a lace fabric, so I'll transfer it to the lace. On the underbust, okay, I'll mark 2.5 inches away from the bust pan line. Okay, from that line we made there. So for a medium size you can use about 1.5. For a small size you can use 1, depending on how big the person's bust is. So I'll also mark the same thing on the and connect in a straight line. Okay, then I'll use the curve to connect the 2.5 mark to the bust point, then extend it to the extra 2 inches added to the shoulder line. Okay, so using a curve I'll connect, okay, to the bust point, then take it to the 5-inch mark we made on the other side. That's why I told you that the extra 2 inches we added for the shoulder is because of the princess that. Okay, so seeing that we now have that bustier shape, okay, so you wouldn't have problems with joining and you're having shortages. So even if it's too much, you can always, you know, make adjustment. That I have half of my round armhole measurement as my chest line. So here I want to take my bust measurement. My bust is 44, divided by 4 is 11. Okay, so I'll measure what I have from the center point to the center front to the space between the darts. Okay, I have 5 inches, so I'll rotate my tape, okay, so that I'll mark 11 inches. Okay, so I'll add 3 inches seam allowance, 2 inches as a normal seam allowance, and 1 inch for joining the dart when I cut it out. So the same thing for the underbust and the half length. My underbust is 38 divided by 4 is 9. So I'll measure whatever I have from, then maneuver my tape to mark the remaining, then add 3 inches seam. The same for the half length. I'll measure what I have from the center front to the bust span, which is I have 4. So I'll measure my tape to start from 4 from the other dart leg, then mark quarter of my waist measurement plus 3 inches. Okay, having done that, I will then connect the lines. Okay, it's as easy as that. Okay, now the next thing is to determine the type of neckline you want. Is it a v-neck, a sweetheart neckline? So I'm using 4 inches by 5.5 inches. Okay, 4 inches width and 5.5 inches depth. So I want a U-shaped neckline. Okay, so I'll just use my curl neckline. Then for the shoulder slant, I'll come down from the shoulder by 1 inch. Okay, then connect to the neckline. Okay, we're done. It's as easy as what we've just done here. Just follow the steps, then I'll cut out. Okay, starting from the half length, just watch how I cut so that you don't make mistakes. Okay, then place your hand on your fabric to give the fabric so it doesn't move around. You can also decide to iron paper stay on your satin just to give it a little firmness. Now for the armhole, from the 5 inches mark we came down from the shoulder, you use your curve to, draft the armhole. Okay, it's as easy as that. Just from that 5 inches mark, you use your curve to make a curve to the bust measurement, then to the seam allowance. Cut out your neckline, the shoulder slope. Okay, so you also cut through the armhole. Okay, then we start cutting the dart. So from the first dart leg, you cut to the armhole, yeah, then take it to the shoulder. So that's the center front. The center front is out now, remaining the sides. So you also cut through the dart. Okay, following the curve you made for the bust area. Remember, it's a bustier, so you have to be careful to cut on a curve and not sharp edges, so that you don't have sharp edges protruding on your bustier. So you just cut that out, and voila, we have our princess dart bustier. It's so easy. There are several methods of doing this, and I found out that this is the easiest for people that have issues with this, so I prefer to teach with this method. So I'll be using a 6-piece skirt for this. I've already made the skirt, and I'll teach you how to make a 6-piece skirt in another video. It'll be a 3-step peplum. I've already ironed a peplum stay on it to give it firm. So it's a 3-step 360-degree peplum. Okay, so that is what I'll use. Okay, so whatever you've cut out on this pattern, you transfer it to your lace. Okay, so I've transferred the pattern to the lace. Okay, so I now place them on each other. Remember, you also have to cut lining piece for each of them. You can see the satin is underneath the lace. Okay, you do the same for the 3 pieces, then also cut lining piece for each of them. That's right. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video.